It's a beautiful Thursday morning in the city of Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. My name is Dabola Shaki. We'll begin with the front pages of the daily, starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with operating Port Harcourt refinery ahead of full turnaround. It will informed that, according to NNPCL, rules out a sale of refineries. $18 billion spent on three refineries. TAM, others so far. News page 5 has a story, and page 8. Nigeria was heading for 1.2 trillion naira subsidy debt that's coming from PCNGI. Phantom coup. Labour Party alleges harassment of leaders. You can see that on page 9. Presidency ex-ADC chair Bika over alleged ministerial bribe offer. And on sport, my generation was robbed. That's coming from Patience. You can see that story on page 38. And on the top left corner, we have mixed reactions trail INEC's verdict on local government polls. Hospital services disrupted as nurses strike enters day 3. Negotiations continue tomorrow. IDP's protest in Benue block Makodi Lafia Road. Lastly, on Vanguard newspaper, First Bank grows earnings by 18.1% to 1.6 trillion naira. That story can be seen on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Away from there, we move to the Punch. The Punch leader story says federal government eyes at 796 billion naira annually from 5% petrol surcharge. Consumers decry new fuel tax after subsidy removal as law commences January 2026. You can see that story on page 31. While on page 7, varsity student to face drug test, says education minister. Port Harcourt refinery not for sale, NNPC says. Abiodun welcomes the ex-PDP chair, others to Ogun APC. Gunmen stab Ogun man to death. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, we have UTME fraud, JAM prosecuted 110 in 5 years. You can see that story on page 7. Now let's move to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian leading story says suspended school feeding initiative leaves 9 million pupils, 250,000 jobs stranded. You can see that story on page 6. And we have an infographic on that. On the newspaper 3, 2027, Rufai reviews PDP in talks with OB for major return. Ministry, NDLEA OK's compulsory drug test for undergraduates. Nurses begin warning strike over poor conditions, leave patients stranded. Saudi to expand operations in Nigeria with TransBlue partnership. You can see that on news page 5. And lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, marginalization, not fiscal position stronger on that, Tinubu says Bagudu. You can see that on newspaper 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And lastly, the nation's major story says Tinubu's performance impressive in key areas, says not leaders. Region 6 more actions in tackling out of school children menace. You can see that story. And also we have the story of the North strikes on the Nation newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies. Join us after the break for a brief analysis of some of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today in the News of Vanguard Life. My name is Damlola Shaki, and joining me to analyze some of the stories on the front pages this morning is Mr. Oludare Mayowa, publisher, Global Financial Digest. Good morning, Mr. Mayowa.
Good morning, Damlola. Thanks to you.
Yes, all right. After spending $1.5 billion on the rehabilitation of the 210,000 barrels per day Port Harcourt refinery, Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Bayo, he has declared that operating it before it was fully completed was ill-informed. What do you think about this?
Thank you very much. I think the whole investment in the refineries, both Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna, was a misplacement of priority. And for me, as a person, when you look at the handling of that refinery all along, government, they are falling into a cesspit of corruption. I think because if it's not the conspiracy down the line in the investment, we borrow money to fix those refineries, knowing fully well that those refineries are outdated, moribund, and probably unserviceable. And we keep investing in that place. Don't forget, in the time past, they have been carried around, along what you call turnaround maintenance on those refineries. And here we are not getting value for our money. So for me, it's an act of sabotage against the economy by people who are concerned. And I expect that the president himself will have set up actual inquiry to find out what went wrong in that place, not just allow things to lie low. Government should actually investigate the past leaders of NNPC on investment in that place, what went wrong, how was the money borrowed to rehabilitate the refinery mismanaged, and what led to reversal of the sales of the refinery by Obasanjo regime. I think there should be a holistic investigation into that sector of the economy. Otherwise, we're going to dance around in circle. That's where I look at it. It's a shame that year in, year out, admission after admission, we keep investing in a plan that will not serve us as a nation. So it's a waste of resources that economy to boost the economy and to make life easier for the people.
Yeah, according to report, there was a 2 month shutdown in May to June 2025 for routine maintenance with no clear end dates given. So, what does this suggest about the operational sustainability and internal judgment of the PHRC's leadership?
I think the intelligence of Nigeria and you're playing a mind game against Nigeria. The people in charge, they are aware that refinery was functional. It's going to produce anything because the bulk of the money are supposed to use to revamp that place. As government the federal government to actually investigate the corporation, that's the NNPCL and National Petroleum Company, and the official that handles the revamping of the refineries. In the last time when they were trying to open the place, President Obasanjo just categorically said that refinery cannot work because he was the one that built it. So he was aware of what the state of that refinery. That's why it imagine if you have allowed the sales of that refinery to went on after during the administration. By now we'll have a massive production of fuel in Nigeria and export to African countries. But we find ourselves in this situation because nobody has been held accountable, and the politics continue. As long as we're not holding public officials accountable for their mismanagement of the economy, the politics continue. People continue to follow the same step, continue to steal money, continue to vandalize the economy, and we are going to find ourselves in the same rigmarole going forward. So we need to watch. President Obasanjo need to stand up and be different from his predecessors and ensure that once and for all we put an end to this maladministration, manipulations, and the mismanagement of our resources through phantom revamping of refinery. And experts have said that they should sell off the refinery for scrap, sell it to private sector who can actually probably rehabilitate the locations to build a new refinery in that place. And that is, people have said that's the way forward. As long as we continue to put money in that refinery, it won't work. We won't get value for our money. People going to take us for granted because they are going to steal this money, and they are going to work in the same circle. So we won't achieve anything.
So, are you saying that privatization or partial sale of the refinery is better and it will be more beneficial to Nigerians?
Yeah, everything has shown in the last couple of years. Everything has shown that refineries were already old. They are old technology, for example. So government doesn't have the money to actually recalibrate it. Maybe this is some of those plants and rebuild new one in that location. So everything has shown all over the years. We have spent billions of dollars, borrowed money for turnaround maintenance. We are not, and that refinery has not produced sufficient petroleum to service the economy. There was time there were people. There was a news that the Port Harcourt was actually doing blending, and they bunked it. But what are we seeing today? The evidence is clear for us that those iron steels are moribund, and they need to sell it off. Because only private sector, no one borrow money, no private sector will continue to spend money on things that will not work. You will find solution to it. So governments, because the government money, they are not accounting to anybody, they are not accounting to shareholders, they are not accounting to investors, they are not accounting to banks who borrow their money. So the money is taken from the treasury to repay the loan, borrow for revitalization business. So the country will misbehave and do as they like because there's no accountability in that sector. So we need to sell off. Once for Nigeria should to call out the management of that institution, call out the president, call out the administration, and to do the right thing.
All right, let's move away from that. The Nigerian Association of National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, they launched a 7-day warning strike. What do you think about it? Is this nurses strike the canary in the coal mine for public health, or do you just see it as just a wage issue?
No, it's holistic issue around the healthcare system in this country. If you have ever visited any of the public facilities, medical facilities in this country, you cry for this country. Of course, apart from personnel shortage, most of the doctors are migrating, nurses are migrating out of this country to a better place to earn more money. And you can imagine our leaders are going to abroad, going to France, going to UK for health care. It means that they don't care for the people of this country. Because if you have cared, you have invested in those countries and in those facilities to ensure that it serves both the high and the low. But they are not doing that because they know what they are doing. Because they know they have the authority for themselves. They have the authority, they can fly to France, they can fly to the US, to other part of the world. Or if those countries are failed to take care of their healthcare facility, where would they run to? What facility will you have for them to take care of them? So, because they left the masses to just begin to, no access to healthcare. So, government need to really be serious about this thing, and Nigeria need to really tell this, because as long as we're not paying our nurses well, we're not paying our medical officer well, and yet they are overworked now because there are shortage of medical personnel. I went to one of the facilities recently. What they are saying was that most of their doctors are not available. Why? Because most of them are traveled out of the country for greener pasture. And those who are left behind are overwhelmed by numbers of people that are visiting those facilities because there is no enough personnel. Not to talk of the breakdown of facilities that are not being repaired. It's a shame. And the government should do something about it fast. And maybe there should be a law that prohibits all our top official office holder not to travel abroad to patronize local medical facilities until we have that kind of law. We don't have a good medical care services in this country. But when we have a law that prevents them from travel abroad for medical checkup or medical services, then they will look inward and ensure that what we have in this country will make it works for us. But as far as you can squander the public fund to take care of themselves in France, in the UK, then they will neglect the local facility.
Well, this is the first nationwide nurses strike in the last 20 years. Is this signaling them impending collapse?
No, the point that they have been managing on the ground, pacify them, negotiation, making phantom promises for these people. It's not as if they have not been attempt to strike, but they have been managing this issue, and probably they are blew over because the nurse are enough of the shenanigans of government. That's why we are seeing this present strike, deepening and causing crisis in the system. Some of these nurses, we surprised during the strike. Some of them will find a way out of this country and further deepen the shortage of serving local services here. It's unfortunate that our health services are in shambles. Now the state government are earning more money, federal government are earning more money from subsidy removals, foreign exchange gains, and they should invest those saving into facility, into infrastructure. Nothing is working in this country today because the roads are not there. You can't travel from even the Lagos Ibadan Expressway, they are rehabilitated, already damaged. And if you go towards the Ibadan end, they're already scrapping and patching the road, which has not been delivered. Travel from Lagos Ibadan to outside the country is bad. So the question is that where are they investing this money gain from subsidy, gain from foreign exchange devaluation? We are not seeing those things, we are not seeing the effect in the economy. So we keep to wonder why. What is the essence? And people are suffering lack of, the economy is very, very bad. People are not having job. You have money to spend. So we really wonder when we see the political office holders living larger than life because they have their hands in the treasury. So government should revisit some of these things, and the electorate should look at some of these issues that happen today and make informed decision on who and where to put their vote in 2027.
All right, let's move away from that. Now, the Education Ministry and the NDLA, they now require compulsory drug integrity tests for fresh, returning, and randomly selected university students. Now, how justified is drug testing as a public health deterrent as opposed to a disciplinary measure?
No, I agree with that, really. That because if you go to a teacher institution today, you see massive abuse of drugs all over the place. Young guys are into drugs. You can't quantify the menace it's causing in the campuses. But the truth is that it's not only the students that will be subjected to drug tests. Even our politicians, our National Assembly members, and those in political officers should be subjected to drugs abuse to so drug tests. I remember before the 2023 election, Wamarua, the head of NDLA, actually suggested that politicians should be subjected to a drug test. And holistically, we should have a holistic policy that's really can protect our young ones and even the elderly ones from drug abuse. It's a menace. It has become an epidemic in our country today. You can't imagine the level of drug abuse in this country today across board. So I support that measure and to complement actually preventing inflow of drugs in the country. So it could work hand in hand.
But don't you think they are risking, stigmatizing the students instead of addressing the root causes of these problems, these drug issues?
No, you're not stigmatizing. No, it's for example, if you are going to get employment in any places, they will ask you to go and do a medical test to know your state of health stability. So it's the same thing. You're not stigmatizing them. And in the campus, for example, there are people, even the officials or universities, they are aware of people who are, you are aware of people who are into drug. It's a sample, because you can do sample across board to either know the depth of drug abuse in those places. It's not stigmatizing them. It's just to ensure sanity in our universities, in our systems. Like I said, it should extend to political officers as well. Those who are making the laws, those who are ruling this country, they should subject them to drug tests as well. Because sometimes the decision they are taking, the policy they are enacting are not consonant with people who are genuine sanity.
Now, but psychiatrists, they are calling it unethical, and they're saying it will likely stigmatize the students. So, do you think the public universities should, how do you think they should navigate, consent and also trust in order to implement this policy?
The thing for us to leave it on the third and let our words go astray. So for me personally, I don't see anything. Yes, because people are innocent who are not into drugs, they will feel embarrassed, no doubt about it. But the point is that there should be measures to prevent this epidemic, to stop this epidemic, to reduce it drastically. It's a menace that become a major issue in our country today. Not only the campus, across board. I'm saying. So people say stigmatizing is just brushing the real issue and trying to play it down. The issue is that the drug abuse is an epidemic in our university today. So drastic steps, we need drastic action. And for me, that's why I support that particular step. Like I said, it should be made holistically, the blanket, covering political office holders, those from the National Assembly, the State Assembly, the state governors, and the rest. Our politicians are ruling us. So we need to take drastic measures to curb this drug abuse in this country. It's going deeper than we can imagine. So I'm not seeing that if somebody, no, I mean, I don't see anything wrong in doing that. If he can solve the problem, he can curb it, he can reduce it. Why not?
Hmm. All right, let's end this on a lighter note, Mr. and Mrs. this morning. And the first person speaking is, I think today we have Mrs. and our friend. So the friend says, you are not interested in knowing the password of your husband's phone. Why? And Mrs. replied, I'm only interested in what will make me happy. And the friend says, which is? Mrs. replied, the pin to his ATM card.
I like that, Mrs. That is when I want to scatter his house. What is he looking for in his husband's phone to crack? Because if you see what that is, what's going to happen? So if you see what he's looking for, what is he looking for in the other person's phone? What is a private gadget for the person that owns it? So why is the woman instigating such? I mean, the question you ask the man: do you have access to your own husband's phone as well? Just to cause trouble in that person's phone. And I like the response. Money is more important than the right counting. When you have access to the pin, you can spend as money as you can and reduce the influence of the man outside there or spend it for the guests out there.
But
I bad the business up.
But knowing the pin, do you think it's more advisable?
Yes, no, why not? Why not? My wife has my ITM, I have access to her own ATM. So what's the idea? It's because for you to understand that, okay, for you to have that confidence that that person that has access to your card will not mismanage it, will not abuse it. That's the most important thing. But there's something to hide in those kind of things. In the instance of it, phone, there's something to hide in the phone anyway. In the instance of it, if you are really truthful to our marital vows.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayowa, for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me today, and have a lovely day.
And you too. Now, do want to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can also visit our website, www.vanguardngr.com. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Have a lovely Thursday.